Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick little article. It's going to be a real quick one. Basically, just highlighting, the what's in the scriptures already. What's already in the scriptures written, all right? But now you see these things coming to pass back to back to back to back. It's now to the point where we don't even really have to preach this no more because it's all in the mainstream media now. This is what's being portrayed in the news now every single day, all right? The scriptures are speaking throughout, they're being played out on earth as we speak today. All right, so this here article comes from RT. It says, U.S. gunboat diplomacy tried to humiliate Venezuela, says Putin. Russia does not meddle in Venezuela or anywhere else, President Vladimir Putin said, criticizing Washington for trying to impose its own leaders on Latin America and around the world. That's exactly what Babylon has done, all right? This is how, just like in the Roman Empire, all right? Back in the Roman Empire, they had this vast empire where they would go around conquering different places and things like that. But instead of just them taking over the place or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? They would just basically put up a puppet leader, all right, or a governor or some sort over top of that place, and then they would just rule it like that, all right? Let the people pretty much do the same thing, but they was tap into the resources and then tax the people, all right? Same thing that Babylon is doing, all right? Babylon has got more military bases around the globe than any other country that there is, all right? And the same thing goes, for Babylon today as it went in the old Roman Empire, all right? So it says the Russian head of state told the Financial Times on Wednesday that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is not being preserved in power only by Russian weapons, explaining that Moscow has agreements with Caracas and that Russian advisors and experts were in Venezuela to that effect, but there were no troops. All right, but ultimately, this is all according to prophecy. All right, this is how, Russia's going to be a guard to these other nations. All right, you basically have two power players on the planet Earth in these end times. It's going to basically be a Babylon. All right, and then you're going to have a Russia. All right, and then you're going to have these two superpowers. All right, they're going to be leading basically a conglomeration of nations into what you would know of as World War III. All right, but ultimately, as the scriptures say, all of Babylon's allies are going to want to turn it on Babylon, all right? And we're in that process right now where you're starting to see a lot of these things take place, all right? It says the Russian head of state told the Financial Times, I just read that. It says, we do not meddle in things. It's none of our business. This problem should only be sorted out by the Venezuelan people themselves. That is all right? But ultimately, we already know that, the Russians are Edomites, as well. But nevertheless, the Lord has got them set up to fulfill prophecy, all right, to go against Babylon, all right. But nevertheless, this is where all this here strife is coming from, all right. According to the scriptures, it's the Most High that works on the minds of these here kings and turn them whichever way He wants them to go, all right, and put it into their minds what He wants them to do, all right. It says he contrasts the Russian position in Venezuela with the U.S.-led regime change operation in the Middle East and North Africa, such as Libya, Iraq, that resulted in complete collapse of governments and the rise of terrorism. All right. And that's exactly what happened over there in Iraq, Libya. They tried to do that in Venezuela. They also tried to do that in Salak. Man, see these goddamn heathens. But they also trying to currently do that in Iran at the moment. All right. Which they actually did that in Iran a while back beforehand. But they're trying to do this again. All right. Because why? They wound up throwing them out. All right. Salakia. It says, it is necessary to humiliate Latin American nations so much that in the modern world and impose forms of government or our leaders from outside. All right. Or it's a question. Is it necessary? It says, while many things could have been done differently when it comes to the economy of Venezuela, Russia believes in a hands-off approach when it comes to the country's politics, Putin explained. Hey, but ultimately, all they got to do is go ahead and, according to prophecy, sell them their defensive weapons, all right, i.e. the S-400, which I believe they got the S-300 already over there. But nevertheless, sell them the S-400, and then you basically got a no-fly zone over Venezuela, all right? Babylon would have to resort to different tactics, all right? It says in Venezuela, as with everywhere else, Russia approves of political developments if they're taking place in accordance with the internal rules and the country's legislation, its constitution, and in line with the people's will. All right, and we know that this is all also fluff because they trying to paint this in a light, we all for the people, whatever, whatnot, but ultimately, hey, this is all the plan of the Most High. All right, is it enough that Juan Guaido entered a square and proclaimed himself president? Is the entire world supposed to support him as president? Putin asked. Let us do the same in Japan, the U.S., or Germany. What will happen? Do you understand that this will cause chaos all over the world? And hey, that's exactly what's going on right now. According to the scriptures, these other nations are looking at Babylon and saying, is this the man that made the world tremble? Which we'll grab that. It says, we are the self-proclaimed, where are the self-proclaimed presidents and opposition leaders? Some of them have taken refuge in foreign embassies and others are in hiding. What do we have to do with this? He asked, referring to the U.S.-backed opposition that has tried to claim power in Caracas. All right, so basically these nations are checking Babylon, all right? Let me grab some scriptures real quick. Like I said, it's not going to be too long of a lesson, I just got a couple scriptures in mind I'm going to hit and we're going to keep it going, all right? Matter of fact, I just referenced some. Let me grab that in Isaiah 14. Let me start up at 4. I'm going to just read a couple of these here verses around. Like I said, just going through the spirit. It says, Isaiah 14:4, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? Because that's where we're getting into now. Babylon was going full speed ahead. All right. It was that unstoppable force. But what? It didn't wind up colliding with the immovable object. All right, basically the Most High. They trying to fight against the Most High, but what? They're gonna be caught striven with the Most High, and they're gonna be basically judged. All right, this is how the end of Babylon goes. The end of these Babylonians, more or less to say. I don't want to get this video flagged by saying certain words, but nevertheless, you know who I'm talking about. All right. It says, let me see. Verse 5, Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Like I said, this is all according to the Most High's plan. Verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. All right. So basically, hey, under the rulership of Babylon ruling over the whole earth, man, these nations are mad. All right. Let me read verse 9 and 10. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, and has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Because why? This is what Babylon does. When Babylon goes to these other nations, this is what the article was just speaking about. They going around imposing their own leaders. All right. Regime change. This is what they're talking about. All right. Let me read that again. It says verse 9. And this, how they establish it. They like the scriptures say, prophesied about Edom, that they was going to live by the sword. It says verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. So going into that, it says, it stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up their thrones, all the kings of the nations. So what? You wind up uprooting all these kings up off of their thrones around the whole globe. Meaning what? Regime change. They had their so-called, how they would say, democratically elected president or leader going on over in their nation. But what you wind up doing? Going over there staging a coup attempt or staging a false narrative to propagate propaganda in the minds of the people to make them believe that their leader is a bad person, so that they'll go in with your opposition leaders to overthrow the government. All right. Look at the Arabs. What do they call it? The Arab Springs, and I believe the Color Revolution. All right. This is basically what they was doing. All right. After 2001, when they started going to war in all these different nations, what do you think they was doing, man? They was over there overthrowing Saddam Hussein. They overthrew him, killed him. All right, and they set up their own little thing over there. All right, and then that state was still destabilized, but what? They eating all the resources over there. All right, same with Libya. All right, the same thing going on over there, man. All right, they tried the same thing in Syria, and it didn't work because why? The Russians came to their aid. All right, they also tried this in Turkey. All right, this was like a 2 or 3 day thing that happened, and once it wound up the plan was foiled, or whatever you want to say. The plan went left field. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Erdogan wound up doing a good job of sweeping all those people from out of his his presence, more or less to say, all these different spies or people who was being paid off. All right, and he wound up regaining control of his nation. Well, he never lost control of his nation, but he just gained control of his nation. And since then you hadn't heard or seen another attempt from America trying to go over there. But what you also see that basically Babylon is tripping over Turkey with this F-30 the S-400 situation in the F-35. All right, but nevertheless, if they continue on going on with that, what do you think Babylon's mission is going to be for them? We got to uproot this here dude too, because he don't want to follow what we telling him to do. Just like here in Babylon, if you here in Babylon, i.e., there was a couple presidents, there was two of them I could think of, or they only happened to two different presidents who tried to go against the powers that be's orders and things like that, and they both was basically executed. All right. Hey, Salakia for this motorcycle noise, man. We got Jake, 2/3 Jake trying to just show off. I don't know who the hell he's trying to show off for, but he's literally just riding back and forth on his goddamn motorcycle. But nevertheless, Salakia, if you can hear that. But continuing on, verse 10, it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Because this is what's going on right now. Because now these nations are being able to talk back to America. Well, basically talk back to Babylon. All right. Because why? If you don't want to listen to what Babylon got to say, they basically go in and invade your country, come up with some kind of laws or whatever, whatnot, and then it's just over for your ass. But now in these modern times where we live in it right now, all right, it's not looking the same way for them. All right. Babylon had had it in a bond and in their plan to go over into into Syria and hijack Syria. But what? Once Russia went over there, it was, we got to tuck tail and go home. We done over here. The terrorists are all dead or some shit, obviously. And then they stopped paying them, but nevertheless, and this is what's going on with Babylon. All right. This is what they're doing in these last times, because they know they have but a short time. And they just going around. They've been doing this, but they trying to set up their kingdom on earth to live forever. All right. But it's not going to go that way. All right. Let me continue on. This is verse 16, Isaiah 14 and 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All right. And that's basically what Russia is basically saying. Like, yo, man, what's up with y'all keep going into all these countries and trying to overthrow these countries, man? Nobody should be able to go into another sovereign country and dictate to them what they supposed to be doing. Just like no man should be going into another man's house that man paid for and tell him what color his wall should be painted or what his wife should be cooking him for dinner that night. You know what I'm saying? Because that ain't your house and it's not your wife, man. You shouldn't be telling that man what he should and shouldn't be doing. All right. Salah, I think that's all I wanted to grab from out of Isaiah 14. Let me go over to the book of Habakkuk 2. All right, because this is also going into what this here regime change that they got going on. This is what their plan is. All right. And this is also the plan that they got going on over there in Iran. All right. Ultimately, it just ain't came out the woodwork yet. But this is what they planning for. All right. They trying to get the minds of these Babylonians over here to think that Iran is over here threatening them. Iran is blowing up oil tankers and things like that. And they're a problem. They're harboring terrorists and things like that. But you ain't heard of no countries in recent years that having any problems with them like that. All right. Besides Babylon the Great. All right. So this is Habakkuk 2 and 5. It say, yea, also because he transgresses by wine or his philosophies, his doctrines, his little bullshit lies, man. All right. Oh, we just want to come over here or like is it NATO? I think it might be the NATO treaty, or it might be a different treaty. It might be NATO though. But nevertheless, they got in one of these different pacts, right? They got it written down basically that one nation, one sole nation can't sit there and boot out another nation. All right. But nevertheless, and this is how they wind up getting all these people transgressing by wine, giving them these people this strong drink. Yeah, we'll protect you. We trying to come together with a conglomeration of nations so we don't ever have to fight a one-on-one war with anybody. So nobody ever want to fight us. If everybody's on our side, who gonna come up against us? It'll be one nation versus 35 nations. You know what I'm saying? And plus, one person can't kick you out. So, they sold them all these different lies. But what? Now this is what they trying to do because they don't want to follow after their so-called orders. All right. So what? They transgressing by this here wine, his lies, they fake philosophies and things. All right. Verse 5. And also, we going over there for humanitarian aid. Oh, this guy's a brutal dictator, killing his people, starving his people out. But nevertheless, this is what's really going on over here in Babylon. And that's, it's basically lies that you're telling on these other nations, like Nicolas Maduro starving his people out. Well, it's maybe because of the sanctions that you got on them, where you taking a number one commodity, the oil, the revenue from the oil, and you're not letting it go back into the country. So now how are they going to be able to pay from top down, the government officials and so on and so forth, all the way on down, make sure imports and exports is being able to be paid for to be able to bring things inside the country. All right. Same with Cuba. Cuba is not a poor country or a country stuck back in time because that's just what they choose to do. No, they like that because of the fact of what America has done to them, or what Babylon has done to them. All right. So it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. All right. Yeah, this is my house. Yeah, I pay the bills over here. Yeah, this is my wife. Yeah, that's your house. Yeah, that's your wife. But fuck that. I'm still finna tell you what she finna be cooking for dinner up in this house and what color your walls need to be. You know what I'm saying? That's a real proud man. Like, you know that ain't your spot. You know that it's not even your country, bro. That's on the whole other side of the globe. You ain't supposed to be doing nothing like that. But hey, this is what Babylon is doing, all right? Because he's lifted up, all right? He's a proud man, all right? It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, all right? He don't keep his little ass here. He always going to somebody else's house. Bro, your house is down there, down the hall in the other building, bro. Why you always all up in my house worried about what my wife cooking? You see what I'm saying? It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desires hell, and is as death cannot be satisfied. All right. And so plundering all these different nations, there's not enough resources for these Babylonians to be having, because why? They never satisfied. They're going to want everything and then some. All right. They already got predominantly the whole planet Earth up under them. All right. But they want to get every single inch of this here planet. And now they're even going out to space. Yeah, we want to get some other planets and shit like that and go mine resources from outer space. Like, bro, you ain't never satisfied. You got more than enough and you still ain't satisfied, bro. All right. It says, who enlarges his desires hell and is as death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. All right. And when he's gathering all these different nations unto him, it's not in a conglomeration. They're not reigning side by side on equal playing fields. All right. He bringing these nations close unto him so that he can stand over top of them and rule over top of all these different nations. All right. This is the reason that they got these nations, or this is why they got their bases and they taking over these different nations like that. Or, you know, they have some kind of control over these nations, because basically Babylon is controlling damn near the whole damn globe. But when you look at Babylon on the map, you know, I'm using code word Babylon, but you know the place I'm talking about, the place we were reporting from. When you look up that place on the map, you know what I'm saying? It's not that, well, really is not that big, but on the maps that they got nowadays, it shows that it's way bigger than what it really is. But nevertheless, if you look at a NATO map, or the Babylonian military bases around the globe, that's an extension of Babylon. All right, because why? This is where their bases are, their embassies are. All right, and they have ruling and dictatorship basically up out of these here different countries. All right, so it says, verse 6: Shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And I was just reading in another article about how the Babylonian, what do you call it? Basically the debt that they get annually, right? Or their overall debt, you know, they said is going to be like, forgot what the number is said, like, or no, they said the percentage was going to increase 144%, i.e. look at those numbers, 144%. All right, by what, 2025 or something like that? Not far down the road, or 2040 or something like that. But nevertheless, Lord willing, we nowhere near here, you know, at that point in time. But nevertheless, you can see how it's charting. And really, those numbers are fake anyway, because the debt over here is like 200 trillion. All right, but they won't really disclose that. You have to go to that national debt clock and actually look at all these different numbers of the things that they got added in there. All right, but nevertheless, continuing on, talking about how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, going into this full debt, but I want to go up. It says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? All right. And that's what basically what Russia's saying. Like, yo, man, why y'all always meddling in other people's countries and their affairs? Why you always trying to go for regime change, bro? How long you gonna keep doing this, bro? Like, the world would be a lot better place if you wasn't in everybody else's house, man, trying to dictate what they doing. All right. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. All right, because this is what's boiling in the hearts of these nations right now. All right, all these different nations are getting tired of being sucked dry from Babylon. All right, so now they're looking for an alternative. All right, and it's also put in store, according to the scriptures, that Russia was going to be this here guard unto these other nations against Babylon. All right, so what if you got a problem with Babylon? And I mean, obviously every country is too small to be dealing with Babylon. All right, even Russia alone by itself can't really deal with Babylon. But nevertheless, you know, if you're a small country and you can't deal with Babylon one-on-one, Russia gonna take you in like, we got your back. Oh, you need weapons? We got your back. We got you. All right, but at the end all be all these different nations are gonna be set in array against Babylon. All right, and they're gonna spoil her. Well, let me read this. Verse 7, shall not they rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, of all that dwell therein. All right. So what? All these different nations are going to get tired of being bullied, and then they're going to eventually come over here and take their vengeance out on Babylon the Great, according to the scriptures. All right. And this is what the Most High is working on these leaders' minds to do. I'm going to grab that next. It says, verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. All right. Hey, so he think that if he can sit there and roll over top of all these different nations, or subjugate all these different nations, have them up under their foot. All right. Not only will they not have no opponents to sit there and face them off. All right. Or if they got like how they have it now, the majority of the damn planet Earth is all on their side now, save a couple of different nations. Like those nations can't even band together basically to take on Babylon. All right. But what? It's all according to prophecy. The Most High has, we're going to grab that too. Let me grab this Proverbs real quick, and then we'll grab that in Ezekiel 38. This is Proverbs 20 or 21. Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it wherever so he will. All right. So just like a river, all right, the river is guided by what? The banks, there's a way that they actually say this, dealing with the monetary system. But nevertheless, I'll kind of say it the way that they say it. It says that the current, the water current or your currency flows between what? The banks, right? Your money and stuff like that. You can go into Jordan Maxwell and learn all about that. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? But talking about actual waters right now, all right, rivers gonna go in only the direction that the banks of the river is driving it. All right. So if you got a river going straight in a straight line, then all of a sudden the river banks take a steep left, that water is going to get turned to the left. All right. So what? Those river banks is basically akin to the Most High's hands. All right. And the water is basically akin to these leaders of these different nations. All right. So Proverbs 21:1 again. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it wherever so ever he will. All right. So this is what's getting these nations prepared and getting them stirred up and getting their minds this type of way, basically to go up against Babylon. Salakia. I'll give you one example and we'll close out. This is Ezekiel 38, and we've been bringing this out a lot lately because these are the prophecies that's knocking at the door. All right. Ezekiel 38:2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. All right, bringing them back to what? That old Soviet state, or that old USSR, what is it? The United Soviet States of Russia. All right, the Soviet Union. All right, bringing them back to that big conglomeration of nations. Because if you look at a Soviet Union map, and then you look at basically what they would call, I don't know if it was Russia or the Russian Federation. I think the Russian Federation is what they got going on now. But if you look at a map of like Russia, and then you look at a map of the USSR, you'll notice that the USSR is a lot bigger than Russia. All right, now if you look at a map of, I believe what they call it now, the Russian Federation, you'll notice that the Russian Federation is a little bit bigger than basically Russia. All right, now I'm saying this, it might be a little confusing, but basically it's just the different time frames. All right, of how do I say, Russia? Like in World War I, World War II, basically like World War II, right? You had the USSR at that time, right? That was if you look up a map of Russia in 1945, all right, you're gonna see that it's a lot bigger than Russia, and let's just say 1998. All right. Now, if you look at a map of Russia today, it's a little bit bigger than what it was in 1998. You had the thing go off in the Crimea Peninsula, the Ukraine and stuff like that. All right. These nations are now trying to get back with Russia. All right. This is the prophecies being fulfilled, like we just read in Proverbs 21:1, how the Most High is the one that's working on the minds of these kings and steering them the way that they want to go. All right. And Russia's going exactly down the path of what's written here in the scriptures. All right. So it says, verse 4, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. All right. Go on. Like when you fishing and you got a fish hooked into his jaws, he can try with all his force to swim down and swim away, whatever, whatnot. But once he hooked, bro, you reeling his ass in. So the same way with Putin and Russia and them, right? They might not want to do this. They might not want to do that. They might have had a different idea, whatever, whatnot. But what they going to do at the end of the day? They're going to wind up doing the Most High's will because they caught on that damn hook, man. They being brought back to that Soviet state, man, that big global superpower, all right? That military force, all right? That force to be reckoned with, all right? Back in World War II, that was really the only country that Hitler feared at that point in time. And really, the most dominant military on the face of the earth at that point in time was Hitler and his military, man. All right, we still using all of his technology to this damn day, man. All right, we ain't really advanced. Well, with AI, that's like the only real advancement in drone warfare. Well, I don't even know about drone warfare because they had that. It might be drone. I don't know about drone warfare. That shit, they had that from way back in the day as well too. Like as far as I know, it's the 70s. But nevertheless, all the technology that we got nowadays basically come from Adolf Hitler time. You know, like rocket propulsion. You know, like fighter jets with the you know, back in those days you had propeller jet airplanes. You know, you watch movies like Red Tails, right? And they was fighting in World War II, and then they came onto a point where they seen these fighter jets with jet engines. That was from Hitler's side, all right? They had those. Same time in that war period, World War II, they was just flying over you, and they would just open a damn door and drop a bomb out the damn door, and it would free fall to the projected target. You know, they would have it mapped out. If we going at this here speed and it's gonna fall at this here angle, we expect that it's gonna hit this here spot and it's gonna hit the target that we have planned for it, all right? But nevertheless, now they get into a point now where they have how do I say, missiles, all right, where they can sit there and shoot something off like a air-to-air combat, all right? One fighter jet can sit there and shoot a missile, and it can track down and shoot another plane in air, all right? Or ground-to-air missiles, all right? So they have missiles that they shoot from the ground that be propulsed up into the air, i.e. the space shuttle rocket, all right? And when you look at the space shuttle, you got the airplane-looking thing, and then you actually got the rocket on the backhand side, and then the gas tanks that all this shit fall off. The gas tanks fall off. The rocket take you damn near to the top, right? But nevertheless, that rocket that they got that's taking them over there is basically the same thing that von Braun from the German side made back in those days. They was lobbing rockets off into Europe at that point in time, all right? The V1 rocket, the V2 rocket, all right, on down into what you have now is the space shuttle, all right? And also, that's the same delivery system that deliver intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBM missiles, all right? Which is going to be the delivery weapons for these thermonuclear missiles, all right? So for these people like North Korea, where you talk about, oh, they don't have nukes, or they don't have the nuclear capability, or they testing short-range missiles, they don't have the capability of hitting us. Technically, any nation, all right, with a space program that can get anything in the orbit, what they call upper Earth's orbit, where the satellites and shit be orbiting it, they can hit your ass with a ICBM missile, because that's how they are delivered. They shoot them into space. They, you know, they just go up. It's less fuel to just shoot the shit straight up into orbit. All right, then use less fuel to position itself, and then just drop that bitch right back down on your ass. All right, that's a shorter trip than trying to just shoot it all the way across the water. All right, but nevertheless, getting back on topic, it says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army. Horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and his bands in the house of Tomogah in the north quarter, and all his bands and many people with them. All right, so in here you got Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, all right, Gomer, which I believe is Turkey, and Tomogah is Syria. All right, so going into you see all these different nations in the news right now, and they all dealing with Vladimir Putin, all right, in Russia, getting their aid and getting their weapons and things like that. But now we reading over here about Venezuela, all right, but we already know the story about Venezuela. But what Vladimir Putin is talking about is like, yo, dog, we not meddling with all these different nations, all right? We not you know, trying to impose whatever on them. If they want to buy our weapons, we sell them their weapons. We're not trying to impose nothing on them. All right, but ultimately, you know, it says, well, no, we're not trying to do this. I forgot how they had it worded, but we're not trying to do this by our weapons only. But really, the end all be all is this is all prophecy. All right, this is what we're reading right here, right now. All right, so whatever Vladimir Putin think he doing, or whatever he don't want to be doing, or even if he wind up dying and somebody else come into office, or whatever, whatnot, this here plan is still gonna go down because this is the plan of the Most High. We just read that in Proverbs 21:1. All right, he gonna turn the bonds of the kings wherever he want them to go. All right, it says, verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. All right, so what? This is talking about what? Russia building up their technology, their weaponry and things like that, but then also, you know, they're upgrading their own military strength, but then not only that, but they're also being an aid in a weapons store, more or less to say, to these other nations. All right, so now these other nations actually have some equalizing weapons to basically Babylon, so they don't have to keep taking Babylon bullshit no more. You see what I'm saying? So it's basically like the big bully who been coming to take your lunch money for the whole damn, you know, the whole time you've been in school. You know what I'm saying? But now you got somebody else that's coming in. It's like, look, man, you want to bully people around? I bully the bully. You know what I'm saying? You want to pick on them? You got to pick on me first. You the big fat kid that's picking on everybody else. Yeah, I'm bigger and I'm fatter than you. What's up? You know what I'm saying? I don't mind fighting bullies all damn day. So now they got to basically back up. Now all these other countries are now going over to the new big bully to basically get protection from the original bully. All right. But now this new bully is preparing himself. But not only is he preparing himself by working out and getting all big and strong or whatever, whatnot, now he's taking all the kids that's been bullied and bringing them all together in a conglomeration. Like, look, man, you know what I'm saying? Homeboy want to bully so and so forth. He can't beat us all up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to all be one big clique together. So if he want to pick on any of y'all any other time, he going to have to answer to all of us. And that's basically what you see going on right now between Babylon, Russia, and these other nations. All right. The bully being Babylon. All right. It has been bullying all these other nations for so long. All right, but now you got this new kid that's coming to the school, and he was a bully at one point in time, but he stopped being a bully, but he's still a big old kid. All right, he be going to the gym, working out, he play football and everything. He don't mind fighting the bully. But now he's like, you know what? I see that the bully been picking on y'all. Y'all can roll with me. We're going to be in a new crew together. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody pick with y'all, they got to pick with all of us. And that's what you see going on right now. All right, because this is all according to the prophecy. We'll grab one more, and I'm going to close out. This is Jeremiah 50:9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain." So what? It's saying from the north country, Babylon's going to wind up being taken. All right. An assembly of great nations. We just read about how Russia's going to be coming with a great company that's along with them. All right. But see, this is all the things that's being, this is that snare that's being laid up under Babylon, under the Babylonian foot, man. All right. Because why? They'd have been bullying everybody around so long, but now you got this new kid on the block, and now he's like, yo, I can offer protection. I got this. And now they're going to be basically laid out there for a snare, man. All right. Let me go back to Habakkuk 2 real quick. This is Habakkuk 2:8. "Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city and all that dwell therein." All right. So what? Basically, this Babylon gonna want to be taken, man. All these individual outcast kids on the block or in school getting tired of being bullied by the bully. And now they got this new kid that came to the school, and now he want to be friends with all of them. All right. So because you want to bully everybody else, now you're going to be bullied. You know what I'm saying? You normally bully one person at a time. You go over here and you take this little kid money. You take that little kid money. Then you go take that little kid money. But now you're going to have all these kids plus the new bully coming to beat your ass all at one time, man. And you can't sustain that. You can't fight with that. And nobody going to come to you, to your aid to help you, because why? You've been bullying everybody and nobody want to mess with you like that, man. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push his truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.